Hello, welcome to another helpful video. My name is Robert Medrano, the owner of Peach Hill Soils, and I'd like to share with you today some of the helpful hints that's going to get us through the upcoming fall season. Fall season means, as you know, strong Santa Ana winds, anywhere from 30 miles per hour up to 60 miles per hour. So we have to protect our landscape plants and lawn. This also means very low humidity and high temperatures. One of the things we could do very easily when we go to cut our lawn, make sure your mower is at its highest elevation. What that's going to do is keep the blades of grass tall, which will protect against the low humidity, the high winds, and the high temperatures, and we don't have to water as much. The next thing we could do, that's relatively easy also, is spread a layer of topper over the top of your lawn. And that's basically just hand broadcasting a layer of this material right over the top. Do it as evenly as you can. Try to cover every square foot as you can. It doesn't need to be more than a 1/4 inch thick. And that's going to act as a mulch that goes into the soil. Now, to protect our trees during the fall season, the strong Santa Ana winds that I talked about, we're going to need to support our younger trees. As you see here, we have about a 3 to 4-year-old peach tree. Still pretty thin at the trunk, and is going to need support against those strong winds. So you're going to want to find a stake, a nice tree stake that's sturdy and that's big enough to support the sides of this tree. Now, getting the stake into the ground can be a challenge. You have to be careful with ladders and things like this because usually we're on uneven surfaces when we're doing this. I recommend a contraption like this. This is called a stake driver. You simply put it over the top of the stake, and with pressure and force, you drive the stake into the ground. Once you have the stake in and it's sturdy, and it feels pretty sturdy to support the tree, now you've driven the stake in and it's a good solid fit for the tree. We're now going to want to tie the tree to the stake. We want to use nursery tape. This is the strongest tape that's out there. It's nice and thick, and it's going to last you a couple of years. I like to start at the bottom, and I like to tie it off here at the bottom so that the tree and the stake become one. Now, this is going to support this tree during these strong Santa Ana winds. Tree this size, which I'm going to call is about maybe 10 feet tall, you probably need 3 ties. One at the bottom, towards the bottom, one in the middle, and one towards the top. And make sure that it's supporting it. You can even straighten your tree out with the stake in this manner and then tie it off. That'll ensure a nice straight tree, nice growth. Another tip to trim some of the bigger trees, the more mature trees during the strong Santa Ana winds, as you notice this tree is much taller, much more mature, much older. It can support itself on its own. It's got a large enough foundation there to sustain the strong winds. You do want to cut away some of the branches though from some of your structures, garage, house, parking structures, things like that. If the branches go into your structure, that constant movement will eventually add, or I should say, take away from your roof. It may remove some roofing tiles. I've seen it move some pretty strong panels. So in preparation for the strong wind, you want to trim some of those branches that are close to a structure. In this particular case, I recommend a pole pruner. That's going to get you up to the higher branches that need to be cut, and it's pretty simple. You just grab the limb that needs to be cut, pull down on the string, and it trims the tree really well. And it will get these branches away from this parking structure here. So when the winds do blow, it's not hitting the structure, and it's not going to, you're not going to risk doing any damage to your structure. Here's another tip for some of our medium-sized trees. We covered our young trees, how we stake them. We covered our large trees, how we trim them away from the structures and thin them out. This medium-sized shrub here, we could reach easily by standing on the ground and just reaching up with some clippers. What you want to do in this case, you don't necessarily want to stake a tree like this, but you want to thin this out so that the Santa Ana winds, the strong winds, will go through the tree, and you don't have as much foliage catching all that wind and pushing the tree over possibly. So in a case like this, you want to work from the inside out. So what that means is go inside the tree, trim out some of the inside foliage so that the wind could pass through this. We want to create an opening for the wind to go right through this particular tree here. So you want to take some of these inside branches, and that's what I mean by working from the inside out. Get inside the tree and start trimming out and make a lane or a tunnel for the wind to go through. And that's going to protect this tree for some of those strong Santa Ana winds. And our last tip of the day is how do we protect the soil from these high temperatures and low humidity? As you see around me here, I have a layer of walk-on bark, about a 3-inch layer. That cuts down my water use from 30% to 50% less water usage with a layer of walk-on bark. It also protects that thin layer, that precious layer of topsoil against the strong winds, and it protects the root system from some of these young trees and flowers that you see around me. Keep in mind that you could bring some of this green waste that you trim off your trees that we discussed today to our Moorpark facility. The first Saturday of every month is a free dump day. So you could bring in your green waste to our large-scale composting facility, visit the site, dump your green waste, and we could discuss some other things that you may have questions about. Also, on every Saturday at our Somas location, we give away a free yard of valuable mulch. That goes into your planters to protect the soil as we discussed. I'd like to thank you for visiting our Helpful Hints videos today.